A very good evening to each and everyone gathered here for today's event. We have with us our Chief Product Officer, Mr. Karan Batra, who will be providing you a walkthrough on the Markets Mojo platform, help you understand how each of the features were created and how you could use them to its maximum potential. Towards the end, we would also be having a short Q&A session where you could drop in any queries you have in the chat box below. Over to you, Mr. Karan.
Thank you, Jason. Good evening, everyone, and thank you for joining us today. Like Jason mentioned, we'll go over some of the key features of Markets Mojo, and I would strongly urge that please stay for the Q&A because it's usually very interactive. And if you have any query about any other section that I've covered or not covered in the webinar, you can always ask me about that. So we'll cover these 7 features mostly today, starting with the Mojo score, going on to the verdict and switcher research reports, how you can create and maintain your watch list and portfolio, about the Mojo stocks, the stock screener, and the stock of the month. Before we begin, I just want to make a quick announcement. It's a very happy occasion for us. We're celebrating 7 years of Markets Mojo. And for only people who are in the webinar, we're offering a very, very special price. You can get Mojo Professional for 2 years and 3 months at only 14,999. Now this includes the fundamentals, the mutual funds, and the trading 80 product. So starting with the Mojo score. Now, when we created Markets Mojo 7 years back, we realized people don't have access to good quality research. Not that they did not want research. We did one study with one of the leading brokers in the country, and we realized that 80% of their clients were holding stocks which are outside their coverage area. Because a typical broker will cover probably 200, 300 companies. So people clearly wanted research, but there was no good quality research available. Now, people were getting research, or people were mostly investing basis tips that they would get from probably some analyst or from some news channel. We used to tell people that, invest wherever you want, but please check on Markets Mojo first. What we wanted to create at that point was a system that is unbiased, data-driven, and covers all companies. And that's where we created the Mojo score. Now, when I'm saying unbiased and data-driven, we do not believe in projections. We do not believe in stories. When it gets translated to the numbers, hard numbers, is when we'll classify the company as a good buy or not. Most of the times we lose money basis our biases, right? So we've all had stocks which went up a lot. We did not sell on time. The stock went down. And the next time the stock goes up a little, we kind of book our profits too early. So it's a very general perception that we hold on to our losers for too long, but we sell our winners too early. These are all biases which come from our own experiences of investing. So we wanted to create a system which only depends on data, removes all these biases from your investment decision, and covers all company. So this band that you see on the screen is a Mojo score band, which you will see on all companies. So this goes from a strong sell, hold, buy to a strong buy with a score. Higher the score, the better it is. What do? We research all companies over 550 different parameters, which translates to more than 30 million data points on a daily basis. Now this analysis runs across the company fundamentals, the results, the technicals, the peers, the price, and gets translated to 4 key dots or 4 key factors for us, which is the quality, valuation, financial trend, and technicals. Now I'll cover these in a little more detail. So how the structure of today's webinar will be, we'll be spending most of the time on the website, where I'll show you different parameters, different features of the website. So let's start by analyzing a stock. Let's take probably Tata Elxsi. Now Tata Elxsi, as you can see here, is a Mojo stock, has been a Mojo stock for the last 7 months. It has a score of 70, which is a buy. Now here, once you come on a stock page, this is what we call as the investment dashboard. So it's telling you why the stock is a buy, what are the factors working for the company, and even in some cases, factors which are not working for the company. On the right, you'll see some key decision points. The first is the verdict report. We'll come to this in a little while, which is the detailed research report on every company. Is this stock for you? What is the risk and return profile of this stock? So this stock is given 121% return in the last 1 year, but has also at the same time has had a higher volatility. So higher risk, but it is given a higher return. If you're looking to invest, how much you should be investing, how much you should be buying, the return summary in different periods, and the 4 Mojo parameters of quality, valuation, financial trend, and technicals. Now, wherever you see these 4 dots, they will always follow this pattern of quality, valuation, financial, and technicals. Once you come down, this is the price dashboard of what's happening in the stock today. So right now the market is closed. Otherwise, this is a tick-by-tick commentary that updates on every stock completely through the system. So in every stock, you will see this commentary of what is going on, what is the short-term trend in the stock, how is it doing versus its sector. So let me go down. Let me dive straight to the 4 dots of Mojo parameters. So the first and a very important dot for us is the quality. Quality is the long-term fundamental strength of a stock. When I'm saying long-term, it is looking at over the last 5 years data. The key word here is consistency. We're not just looking at one period, we're looking at consistency of performance over multiple periods. There are 3 main parameters here. First is growth, then capital structure, third is management risk. In growth, we're looking at the top line growth, the bottom line growth, the operating profit margins. Again, everything over the last 5 years and consistent performance of the stock. Second is the capital structure, which is mostly the debt levels of the company, the debt serviceability ratios of the company. And third and the most important factor in quality for us is the management risk. Now, we're not really looking at who is behind the company or who is the promoter or who is the CEO of the company. What we believe is, if the management of the company is strong, it will reflect in the numbers of the company. The company will be growing efficiently, again, consistently over a long period of time. So the ratios like your return on equity, return on capital will all be positive consistently. We build in external parameters like what is the level of promoter pledge shares, what is the level of institution holding in the company, are the profits real, is the company paying taxes, dividends, a level of inter-party transaction, related party transaction, many other factors that go on to define the overall quality. Now, quality for us is like a gatekeeper. If the company is not at least a good quality or a green quality that we say, it will not be picked up as one of our Mojo stocks that you see Tata Elxsi. So that will not become part of our recommended stock basket. Second parameter for us is the valuation. Now I wanted to take a stock where valuation is red, but still the company has a buy rating. Now it's very important to understand this distinction. Valuation for us is one of the parameters that goes on to define the overall score on the company. It is not the call on the company. And I'll also show you how these 4 dots interact so you'll get a better idea. So valuation. Now there are multiple ways of calculating valuation. Everyone has a different method. A very common way is, let's say, the discounted cash flow method, where the analyst has to assume what the growth will be 10, 15 years down the line, how to discount that today. And a 1% difference in the discounting rate or growth rate will completely change the valuation of the company. Like I said, this is all based on assumptions. We want to take all these assumptions out, and that's why we created a relative valuation model. What we believe is, our main philosophy in valuation is, if the company is fundamentally strong, it can justify even higher valuation multiples, but if a company is fundamentally weak, it cannot even justify lower valuation multiples. So we're not just looking at PE of above 20 is expensive or below 5 is cheap. If a company is fundamentally poor, even a company with a P of 2 will say it is expensive at that level because it cannot justify its fundamentals even at that low P level. So we measure valuation related to 3 factors. First, like I mentioned, is versus its own fundamentals. Second is versus its own past. So the company, let's say today, is trading at a premium, but has it become cheaper versus its own past? And third is versus its peers. Combining these 3, we come out with the valuation of a company. Now, quality and valuation combine to form the long-term drivers of the company. Because they're looking at longer-term data set, they tend to lower the risk of investment. The other 2 parameters are the momentum parameters, which help to catch that extra return. The other 2 parameters of the momentum parameters, the first is the results momentum, which we call as the financial trend. Now, financial trend is how good are the latest results versus the last few results of the company. So it changes with every result, every quarter it changes. On the right, you can see the trend of the financial trend score and the price movement, and you'll see this across multiple companies which have done consistently well on financial trend. The market has rewarded them in the long term. Now, what are we looking at in financial trend? So how good are the latest results? So let's take one example, sales. is the sales of the company growing? Is it growing every quarter? What is the rate of change QOQ, YOY versus its peers, versus its own past? Then we see the last 2 quarters and say what is the trend in half-yearly sales, 9-month sales, annual sales, and so on. Now this is one factor. It goes across all the key factors of your results, your P&L, your balance sheets, your ratios, cash flows, shareholding, and combines it into a financial trend score. Now this score is higher the score, the better it is. We've seen a general score range of plus 40 to minus 30 is the broader range. The fourth parameter is the technicals. Now technicals is not a very short term or intraday technicals for us. We're not looking at a target price or stop loss based technicals. This is a longer term investment trend of the stock. So if you see this company, it came in the bullish range around June 2020 at a price of 868. Today is 8,400. So it's giving a longer term investment trend for this stock. We use mostly these 7 parameters and they are mostly measured over a weekly and monthly period. So that's what I'm saying. It's not a very short term intraday technical. It's giving an investment trend. Now I said looking at all these 4 dots together is very important. And why that is so? If you see how quality and financial trend interact, quality is the long-term fundamental strength, while financial trend is the latest result momentum. So if the latest result is bad, it will not mean that the quality will turn. But if the latest result is consistently bad, then we know that the quality might deteriorate. Similarly, valuation and technicals. Now let's say stock price is going up. Beyond a point that fundamentals cannot justify, the stock is looking more and more expensive. At the same time, it will start looking more and more bullish. So these 4 dots interact very beautifully with each other. And that's why we say if you're taking an investment decision, base it on the score and not on any particular dot in isolation. Now how the page is structured is, all the summary cards are on the left, which is your vertical scroll. And if you want more details, you can just keep going to the right. So let's say I'm in returns. If I keep going to the right, I'll get more and more depth of information. So for summaries, you can just keep scrolling down, and for more and more information, keep going right. If you want to see the base data, you can always click on this all data tab. So it'll give you the base data of what was used to do this calculation, how what was the raw material for all this analysis. It was standalone or consolidated. Sorry. Yeah. If you want to track this stock, you can just simply add it to your watch list or portfolio in one click from the page itself. Now what I like to do usually when I'm on a stock, I like to compare it with its peers. So you can head over to the compare section, which is at the bottom. And here you can compare the company over various parameters like the quality, the valuation, the returns of the company has given, and many other parameters. So coming back, what we saw is dashboard is the one view decision making tool. Price summary is what to know today, the price trend of the company. Technical and financial are the short term momentum parameters, while quality and valuation are the long term drivers. Scroll down for summary and right for details, and click on the for base data, click on the details tab. Now we briefly, we ran through the verdict. Now let me take it in a little more detail. So we saw a stock page that's very spread out. There are a lot of information in different cards at different points in the stock page. Verdict is a real-time research report. So it takes all the necessary information, what is relevant for this particular company in that order, and creates a real-time research report on every company. So 2 ways you can access the verdict report. One is from the stock page like I showed you, which is on top here. You can also go to research and verdict. And let's say, we were looking at Tata Elxsi. You can generate the real-time report. Now let me download this report. So this is creating a real-time report at this moment. So you can see the timestamp 6:17 just when we're on the webinar. So again, it will show you what is relevant for this company, what is working for the company, and what is not working for the company also. Like valuation is expensive, very expensive for this company. When you go down, you will see all the points which are in summary in this page explained in much more detail. So like I said, it's a very unique report for every company. What is important for this company will be highlighted first and in that order. So if for a company valuation is more important, that'll have a higher priority. If technicals are more important, those will come up first. So it's a very unique report tailored to each and every company. Now let me just come back to the presentation. So verdict is when I'm doing research on one particular company. But what if I'm holding a company and I want to know what should I do about this company? Should I continue to hold or should I switch? For that, you can use the switcher report. So let me go back to the website. For switcher, you can go to research, switcher. Let's say I have Kaya, or let me take Jet Airways. Let's say I have 100 shares of Jet Airways. So it is asking me if I want a better stock in the small cap or across the market. Now, there are no better stocks in the airline industry. That's why it's not suggesting me within the sector. So there's no buy call on any of the stocks in the airline industry. So that's why it's going across small caps or across the market. Now, because I selected small cap, it is saying if I have 100 shares of Jet Airways, I should sell that and get into 4 shares of Voltam. Now, there are multiple other suggestions also that I can look at. So if I want to go across the market, I can even look at GHCL and Fine Organic. Now, let me download this report. So verdict we saw was detailed report on one stock of how that stock is performing. Switcher is a comparative report. So why to get out of Jet Airways and why to get into Voltam Transform? So what are the factors not working for Jet Airways? What are the factors which are working for Voltam? Again, it's a real-time research report, very detailed, what why you should sell Jet Airways and why you should get into Voltam, and explained in much more depth if you keep going down. So you can explore this on any stock that you're considering. So if it's a hold stock or if it's a buy stock, you'll get a recommendation accordingly. So we saw how one stock is rated, how you can generate multiple research reports on that stock. Now let's see if you're tracking a stock or if you own it, how to really maximize that research on those stocks. So to watchlist, click on monitor and go to watchlist. You can create up to 5 watchlists in the system and you can add unlimited stocks. So, but if you're adding more than 100, 200, 300 stocks, I would strongly recommend create different watchlists. Otherwise, the page gets very heavy and you'll have to scroll a lot. Now, we believe that price is just one of the factors in your watchlist. There are multiple other factors that you should consider when you are taking a decision whether you should get into this stock or not. One of my favorite features in the watch list is return since track date. So since the day I put this stock in my watch list, what has been the performance of that stock? So LG Equipment is up 35%. It's still a buy rated company. Some stocks which have gone down, what has been the score of those stocks, and so on and so forth. Now there are multiple different parameters that you can track your watch list on in terms of the price movement, the stock high-low prices, the Mojo score, the Mojo parameters, what is the liquidity in these stocks, the financials of these stocks, the returns and past results of the company. So watch list is for the stocks that you're currently tracking. You don't own these stocks right now. If you own a stock, for that you can go to the portfolio section. So it's a very powerful tool, the portfolio analyzer. What we wanted to do was give the kind of research which is available to only high net worth individuals or institutional investors to retail users. Many people don't think of how an individual stock fits into their portfolio. They just keep on buying stocks. So we want to create a model where they can look at their portfolio in totality and not just in isolation as a set of stocks. So this is just a table, but it's still a very powerful table here. I'll show you the analysis later. So let's say, so this is your current holdings. You can again see it across what dividends these stocks have given, the Mojo performance or the Mojo dots of these stocks, the risk in these stocks in terms of their volatility, their betas. Also, one of my favorite tabs here is the total return. So this gives you not just the unrealized return of the stocks that you own today, but the stocks that you owned in the past and you've sold, the realized return, the dividend. So the total returns that you've made across all your stocks. Now it's very easy to create your portfolio. You can just simply go to add stocks. You can put, let's say I have Tata Power. I can select the date. If I put any past date, I'll also get the price on that date, and I can put the quantity. I can keep on adding stocks like this. Let's say I want to add TCS. And so on. Or you can import your portfolio from multiple sources. There is a Markets Mojo format, which is a simple Excel sheet. You have to put basic details of the date, the quantity, the transaction type. Or you can select one of these multiple different portfolio sources. So if you have, let's say, a portfolio on Zerodha, you can just simply click on Zerodha, continue. There's going to be a short video demo of where to go on Zerodha, where to click, how to come back, and you can just upload your file after that. So this, what we saw, is still analysis. I think the real power comes when you go down. So this is your portfolio movement. So you can see your portfolio movement across various periods. So like in the 1 year period, how has your portfolio moved? So we create an NAV of your portfolio. Like we saw the tick by tick commentary on the stock, you can also get a tick by tick commentary on your portfolio. This is where the real analysis comes. So on a stock, we saw that we're analyzing over 4 different parameters. Your portfolio, we analyze over 7 different parameters. The first is the return, which is your past performance of how your stocks have done at a portfolio level. So it's very important if you put the right transaction history, because we'll be able to see over the past how many periods, what has really contributed to your performance in different periods of time. So you can get very detailed information of periodic performance in terms of this year, how the portfolio is performed, in different years, in different time periods, what has contributed, which sectors, which market caps have contributed to your performance. We've also introduced a concept of a composite index. Now every portfolio is unique. Let's say you have a portfolio of 20% large cap, 50% mid cap, 30% small cap. What do you really compare your portfolio with? You cannot really compare to a Sensex or BSE 100. So we create a virtual index for every portfolio. So in this case, it would have been 20% BSE Sensex, 50% BSE mid cap, and 30% BSE small cap. And this index also virtually changes. So whenever you sell or buy a stock, the index composition also keeps on changing. So this is the right benchmark for you to really see how your performance has been over different time periods. People don't really look at their portfolio risk. They don't see how risky their investments have become when you see them all together. So that's why it's very important to look at the portfolio risk. Now, there are various concepts that we've introduced here. If you get stuck on any concept, like you don't know what value at risk is, why is it important, you can always click on this eye or the information icon. It'll tell you exactly what is on this card, why is it important, and why you should be using it. This information icon is available to you across all the cards of stocks, portfolio, and various other places. So if you keep going down, you'll see much more analysis in terms of liquidity. If you want to sell a stock, will you face any liquidity issue because maybe you're holding too much shares of that stock, or the stock's trading behavior is very erratic? Are you adequately diversified or not? So this portfolio is highly concentrated because a lot of money is put in just one stock, and top 3 holdings are 73%. Then the 3 Mojo parameters of quality, valuation, financial, and what's happening to your portfolio and those. And if you go down, you can also see some tax reports in your portfolio at the bottom. Now just going up. So like we saw, sorry. Like we saw a score on every company, we also do a score of the portfolio. Now, the portfolio score is based on 2 key parameters. First is the stocks that you own and what allocation you own these stocks. And second is your portfolio construct. So are you over diversified? Are you under diversified? All those things combine to form your portfolio score. Like we saw the verdict report of the stock, you can also download a very detailed report on your portfolio and you can see what's working and what's not working in your portfolio. There are also, you can also add mutual funds to your portfolio. We also have a very detailed mutual funds analyzing platform. And here you can see, okay, the funds that you own, what is happening to those, what is the rank and what is the call on those funds as per our system. Now let me go to one of our most sought after features, which is one of the premium features of Mojo stocks. We saw how every stock is rated. We saw how you can add it to your portfolio. But which stocks to pick as per Markets Mojo parameters? The top 1% of the stocks are called the Mojo stocks. Now for a stock to become a Mojo stock, it has to go through various levels of checks and balances. A, the stock has to have a high rating. A stock has to be buy or strong buy to even qualify as a Mojo stock. The quality has to be green. So even if a stock has a high rating, if the quality is not green, the stock will not become a Mojo stock. There are some minimum liquidity parameters the stock has to satisfy. All the stocks that qualify these criteria then come on to another bucket where our investment committee, which is headed by a CIO, Mr. Sunil Damania, they look at each stock and they analyze if they can be part of the Mojo stocks or not. So they can screen out a stock for 2 reasons. First is, if the business case is questionable going forward, or if there is any corporate governance issue that the numbers are not able to catch at this moment. Only in these 2 cases can they stop a stock from becoming a Mojo stock. So every stock that becomes a Mojo stock, A, is quantitatively highly rated, and B, has been qualitatively verified by our investment committee. To access Mojo stocks, you can go to Invest, Top Stock Picks. So here you can see the top stocks. You can go to various market caps, large cap, mid cap. So for example, All Cargo has been a Mojo stock for the last 10 months and has given 83% return in this time period. Now this is completely transparent and dynamic. So the day the stock becomes a Mojo stock, the performance starts getting tracked on the page and you can see the performance live. Now there might be stocks that have not done well as well. Again, it's completely visible on the website itself. If you go to current list, you can see all the stocks which are there in the Mojo stock list in one place, and you can do a lot of different sorts on this. So you can sort it on score to see the highest rated company, or you can sort it if you want to see the company which is come in the latest in the list, you can do that as well here. Now, like I said, this is completely transparent. To see all the stocks which are there currently or were there in the past, you can go to the full list section. Now, the ones in white have moved out. The ones in black are still in the list. Like Dollar Industries is still a Mojo stock, even after giving 171% return. Mastech used to be a Mojo stock. It was there in the list for almost 21 months. It gave 491% return versus a market of 64. Now you can see even stocks which have not done well if you scroll down. But if the maximum loss that you see here is around 29%, and the number of reds also, if you see, is far lower than the number of greens in the system. But again, this data is completely available on the website. You can do your own analysis on top of this as well. Whenever a stock becomes a Mojo stock or goes out of the list, we alert you via emails, via mobile app notification, via this bell icon notification here. We also send you a weekly wrap of all the changes that have happened during the week in the Mojo stock section. So Mojo stocks are the top 1% stocks across Markets Mojo platform. Next is stock of the month. So our CIO, Mr. Sunil Damania, he picks one stock every month which he feels is the best stock for investment in this month. So it's not like a 1 month investment horizon. Once a stock becomes a Mojo stock of the month, we track it, and if there's any change required, we'll send you a detailed rationale of why this stock has now to be exited. So to select stock of the month, Sunil goes through all the Mojo stock and selects that one stock by doing even more qualitative analysis in terms of the sector analysis, in terms of the management analysis. So he'll even speak to management in a couple of these cases. So this combines the quantitative research with qualitative deep research to give you that one stock investment idea for that month. To access stock of the month, you can click on Invest and go to Stock of the Month CIO pick. Here you will see the research report. So let me take a past report, Bharat Dynamics. This was the report of April. Now you'll see a very, very detailed report which goes beyond the numbers and even does a deep dive of the management, of the sector outlook, of the company outlook by doing a lot of different analysis which the pure numbers will not be able to catch. So next what we'll take up is the screener. Now to build your own investment style, you can use the screener. There are 3 kinds of screeners available. One is the pre-created screen. So we have around 18 investment ideas which are pre-created in the system. There is a Mojo Logic screener, which is a basic screener. You can screen across the 4 Mojo parameters, and you can also filter across basic things like your market caps or sectors. And an expert screener where you want to build a very, very detailed model. So let's see how the screeners work. So you can go to Research and Screeners. Now heading over first to the investment ideas. So you can see these 18 ideas created. Now there are various ideas like near-term drivers are very positive, companies which are turning around their performance, high dividend yield companies. Let's take this example, near-term drivers. So what this screen is all about, you can also read it here. So these companies have positive financial trend and bullish technical. So the last 2 dots are very positive for this company. Company may not be a Mojo stock, but it is showing good signs. So the short-term momentum parameters are very positive. So let's take a few examples and see what's happening to these stocks. So near-term drivers, so let's see this. So it's not a Mojo stock because the quality is yellow. But the financial trend has been consistently improving, and you can see the trend in the price. And if we head over to returns, you can see the stock has done extremely well. In the last 1 year, it's up 400%. Similarly, Lloyd Metals, last 2 dots are positive. And you can see the price movement. The price is coming down, so technical might turn very soon. Similarly, the third company, Autocop. I'm having some internet issues here. So anyways, coming back. So these are the pre-created screens, and you can go to different screens and see which companies qualify and why are they qualifying, what are the set criteria for that. You can head over to the Mojo Logic screener. So here you can screen across the 4 key Mojo dot parameters. I personally like using this because it's very simple but gives me a lot of good analysis. So let's take companies which are green quality, which are at least fair in terms of the valuation. The financial trend is at least very positive for these companies. And technically they are bullish. And I'm only looking at mid caps, let's say. So only one company, EID Perry, satisfy this criteria. So you can build your own models using this. It's a very simple screener, but a very powerful one. If you want to create a very, very detailed model yourself, you can head over to the Mojo Expert Screener. Now, for example, if I want to build, let's say, financial trend, this quarter is at least is green. Yeah, so it's very positive, outstanding, positive. Even previous quarter, it was very positive. So, it is trending. And let's say last 3 quarters have been positive. So I can do a lot of analysis here. And let's say within technicals, the overall grade that I'm looking at right now should be green. So bullish and mildly bullish. Within technicals in MACD on a weekly basis, also it should be green. So I can go down to a lot of depth in my screeners. I can filter on size parameters in terms of the market cap or the sales. I can say returns. So let's say the return in the last 1 year should be at least 5%. Long-term growth parameters, short-term growth parameters. I can even put valuation parameters. So let's say the P of this company should be between 0 to 20 or 25, let's say. And I can run this analysis. So these are the 51 companies that qualify, and all the parameters that I select will also be listed on the right, so I can verify, whatever I've put in has been captured or not. So Oil India has been, satisfying all these parameters that I just put in, and I can also see the returns in the last one is 100% returns, 120% returns. I can see all those parameters itself. I can also filter on all these parameters. Now I can save this screen, and whenever I want, I can come back and again pull up the screen. So all the list will get refreshed whenever I come back. So 3 ways you can create your screener: the pre-created screens, the logic screener, and the expert screener. Before we go to the Q&A, I just want to announce again that we are very happy that Markets Mojo has completed 7 years. And we're offering people who are in the webinar a very, very special rate of 2 years plus 3 months only at 14,999. If you're already a Mojo professional member, your subscription gets extended by 2 years and 3 months. If you're not a Mojo professional member, you can subscribe at these rates, which are not available even on the website. This includes the fundamentals, the mutual fund, and the trading area products. Now with that, I'll open the floor for Q&A.
Okay, I'll just pick this first question by Mr. Abhijit, and I think a lot of investors have asked this. In this particular 7-year anniversary offer, if I wish to add model portfolio or any other feature like optimizer, what would be the cost?
So we are not offering model portfolios and portfolio optimizer in our renewals and our new subscriptions. The existing subscriptions continue, but we're not giving new subscriptions. We're moving them very soon to our Infinity platform. So very soon we'll be coming out with model portfolio and optimizer features, but on the Mojo Infinity platform, where it will be a very detailed investment advisory. We'll do your risk profiling, KYC, and then we'll onboard on to your model portfolios. So this subscription and renewal packs, the model portfolio and portfolio optimization services are not included.
Okay, this next question by Mr. Rajiv. Hi Karan, where can I find the debt to equity ratio for a company in the watchlist section?
Sure. So there are some key ratios that we put in. If probably debt to equity ratio should be there, but let me just check. So you can go to ratios, and you'll see the debt equity ratio here. So what we use is the net debt to equity ratio. So even if you see is minus, that's because the company would have more cash than debt. So that's why it's minus. But yeah, you can find the debt equity ratio here.
Okay, one of the investors, Mr. Ashish, wanted you to actually analyze the stock Balrampur Chini, as in what's the analysis provided?
So all the analysis will be on the website. So Balrampur Chini. So as per our parameters, the stock is a hold. The stock, so basically what it's saying is there are better alternatives available. If you're looking at this stock, you can switch to Fine Organics or ITC in case you're looking at Balrampur Chini. And why it is a hold? Because the quality of the company is average, the valuation is expensive, the financial trend is flat, which has come down. So it used to be positive financial trend, which has come down to a flat financial trend. And the technicals of the stock also are mildly bullish. So they've turned from bullish to mildly bullish. That's why all the 4 parameters except probably technicals are not that great. That's why the stock is hold. Whenever the stock is hold, basically it means there are better alternatives available that you can look at in your portfolio.
Okay, next question by Mr. Nitesh. Can you please implement IRR or CAGR as a feature in portfolio on per stock basis on actual dates of buying selling?
So we use that at a portfolio level. So again, what we are trying to inculcate in the portfolio is how you can look at a portfolio across, not just one stock in isolation. So even if you put that IRR in one stock at an overall portfolio level, if your return is not good, then it's still not giving you a right picture. So in the portfolio, to get portfolio, the IRR at a portfolio level is available. So if you go to the return section, you can get the overall IRR in your portfolio, so your absolute IRR returns. But I'll note down a suggestion of if that can be incorporated at stock level. But the discipline that we're trying to put here is how to look at your portfolio in totality and not just individual stock in isolation.
This next question by Mr. Akshay. Many stocks have fallen from high and it's written in red on the stock page. So is there any particular percentage you've mentioned for a stock to fall from high?
So when we measure the stock to fall from high, I think we use a 30 or 40% threshold. I'm not really sure. I'll have to check that particular threshold, but it's a very critical threshold that we've identified basis a lot of past historical testing that we've done, that when the stock breaches this kind of level, then it has fallen a lot versus the benchmark. So we always also see versus the benchmark what's happening, and we use that to highlight if there is a unusual stock price movement. So when the stock market goes down, the stocks do go down, but versus the market, if the fall is very, very large, that's when we highlight those stocks have fallen a lot.
Okay, one of our investors, Mr. PC Chaudhary, is saying he's using the Markets Mojo app, but when he logs into the website, he says there's an issue for logging in and he's forgotten his password. Could you actually give him a way throughout?
If in case, now there are a couple of ways of logging into Markets Mojo. There is, so let me log out once. Now, in case it's a social login, then it's very easy. You have to put in your Google password, but we don't store it. That goes to a Google platform where you put in your password and you can continue. Otherwise, in case you've forgotten your password, you can always click on this forgot password button. So an email will be triggered to you, and once you click on that, you can update your password.
This next question by Mr. Haren. Is it possible to receive one summary mail of all watchlist stock updates?
We don't have that right now, but it's a good suggestion. Let me note it down. We do send a consolidated portfolio email of what's happening in your portfolio today, but we don't send for watch list.
Okay, moving on to the next question. This is by Mr. Vineet. He's asked, what filter can we apply on Screener to get the list of stocks that are covered under Mojo Infinity?
That screen is not available because that's like a different list that we maintain, that we don't just give a simple screen, but you can put in the good parameters of quality evaluation and kind of try to arrive at that. But still, like I said, every stock that is part of either Infinity or a recommended basket also has to pass through another layer of qualitative assessment by our investment committee. So even if you get the broader list, you'll not get the exact list because that is another filter, that is a qualitative assessment.
Okay, this next question by Mr. Digvijay. He actually needs your suggestion on his investment strategy. He says, after the initial amount of 5 lakhs in an aggressive portfolio, I want to start an SIP of 10,000 every month and increase the amount by SIP 10 to 15% every year. Is this the right approach? Could you suggest a better approach?
So the approach, I would say, is invest in a disciplined manner. Don't try to time the market. If you have a salaried job and you get some money every month and you want to put that money, then putting money in an SIP format is perfectly fine. Invest when you have the money is what we say. Don't try to time the market. Invest in a disciplined manner and have a longer term horizon. When I say long term horizon, I'm not saying that every stock you hold for long. No. You might be holding in the model portfolio a stock for less than 1 month also. You might be holding a stock for years also. When I'm saying long term, you should be invested in the market for a long term to realize anything. So don't try to time the market, invest in a disciplined manner and invest when you have the money.
Okay, this one particular question by Mr. Ambrish. He's asked, do you cover all stocks listed on both NSE and BSE?
Yes, NSE and BSE we take all. We have some minimum criteria, like the company should have a minimum market cap or a minimum trading history of some level. And so apart from few stocks of holding companies and insurance, which we are building. We cover all the other stocks across both the exchanges.
Okay, moving on to the next question by Mr. Ashish. He's asked, how can I get details about the Infinity platform and what's the cost?
So for the Infinity platform, you can just either click on HNI desk or directly go to mojoinfinity.com. You'll get the basic outline of the two strategies. So we have two strategies here, Infinity Soul and Infinity Power. This is on the advisory platform where there is a minimum investment limit of 50 lakhs. It's an advisory platform, so we're not handling your money directly. You'll be investing, we'll be advising you where to invest. The pricing structure is 2% a year, so it's charged 1% every 6 months, but we charge you only if you make money in the past 6 months. So you'll get a lot of details here. And if you want to sign up, you can just sign up and you'll have to do your KYC, you'll have to upload your documents, you'll have to do that basic level. And once your account is set up, we'll guide you every step of the way of how to invest and which are the stocks that you need to invest in.
Okay, this next question by Mr. Actually, a suggestion by Mr. Subarao. He says, in the screener, could you reduce the width of the menu, which says quality, etc., so that we can watch on the same screen without moving the cursor to the right?
Okay, sure. That's a good suggestion. We'll definitely look into it.
Okay, this next question by Mr. Rajan. Karan, any screeners we can use for getting undervalued or penny stocks?
Okay, so we don't have a price filter per se in the stock if you look in penny stocks, but you can always look at micro cap stocks, because those are small, very small stocks. So let's say if I'm in screener, let me just go to Mojo Logic screener for now. I can do a filter of market cap and micro caps, because micro caps are the stocks which are very small. So price should not be a factor when you're looking at a stock. If a stock is 10 rupees or 100 rupees, that really doesn't matter. Really, the market cap defines if it's a big stock or a small stock. So if I remove all filters and I'm just looking market cap, so there are a lot of around 3,000 micro cap stocks. Here you can build other parameters of quality, valuation, financial, and to really come out with your list of, how you define your investment strategy. And one investment idea that you can use is 3 green dot microcap stocks, so which have all 3 key dots as green. This can be a good starting point for you to do your own analysis further.
Okay, this next question by Mr. Rushabh. Hi Karan, how do we analyze technicals using Mojo?
So our stocks technicals are already analyzed. Let's say we're looking at Tata Alexi today, right? So let me go to Tata Alexi. So when you're in the technical section, this is giving a summary of the various technical parameters used. You can also click on view details to get a much more depth of information. So this is a broad summary, or this is our combined technical score on the company. If I come down, I can see individual parameters. So in terms of MACD on a weekly basis, the MACD on a monthly basis, what's the trend? And also we give an explanation of what MACD is and how it works. The various factors of RSI or Bollinger Bands or moving averages, and what the company has been doing in terms of all these averages and other parameters. So like I said, we use slightly more longer term factors of weekly and monthly trends rather than giving a very short term target price or stop loss. It's like an investment trend rather than a price picker for us in technicals.
Okay, moving on to this next question by Mr. Sagar. What should be my minimum amount required to create an investment in Markets Mojo?
So in model portfolio, you can start with as low as 1 lakh and you can go up to 5 crores in different portfolios. In Mojo Infinity, you can start with 50 lakhs. But having said that, if you're investing, I would say that you have to look at it as a part of your portfolio overall. So if you put, and it really depends on your allocation across equity and debt and other asset classes. Let's say you have fixed deposits of over 1 crore and you're only creating an equity portfolio of 1 lakh, then you can take any amount of risk with that, right? Because it really will not affect your overall portfolio. So it really has to be a sizable part of your portfolio so that if you make some gain, those have to be substantial for your entire portfolio, your entire outlook as such. In Markets Mojo, you can start with as low as 1 lakh, but like I said, we think minimum should be at least 5 to 10 lakhs if you invest, because below that, the cost of subscription also you have to see weigh accordingly in terms of what you're getting versus what you're paying. Right?
Okay, as you're speaking about Tata Elxsi, Mr. Bharat Oza has asked, what's your opinion on the stock? Is it a buy or hold?
So my opinion is what is on the website. According to our analysis, the stock is a buy with a score of 70.
Moving on, this next question by Mr. Neerav. Dear sir, you have a very good dashboard for Mojo stocks, but in stock of the month, we have to check each and every stock separately. Can you please arrange to also prepare a dashboard of stock of the month just like Mojo stocks?
Okay, sure. I'll note this down.
Okay. Yeah, also before I move on, Karan, a lot of investors who are already subscribed to Markets Mojo, they've asked whether it's possible to extend at this plan of 14,999. Will the years get added further?
Yes, the years will get added further. So let's say if you have 1 year remaining in your Mojo profession, if you take this plan, your subscription get extended by 2 years and 3 months. You'll have 3 years and 3 months remaining in your subscription. But those additional periods will not have model portfolio and portfolio optimizer.
Okay, moving on. This next question by Mr. Yadav. Who decides the stocks which need to enter the Mojo list, and also what's the frequency of addition in Mojo list?
So Mojo list, like I said, the stocks have to qualify first, have to have a high score, the quality has to be green, minimum liquidity has to be there. On top of that, of the available basket, our investment committee, which is headed by Sunil, they will look at each company and say if they're eligible to be part of Mojo stock. So they can remove a company, they cannot add any company on their own. So they can remove a company if the business case is not very positive going forward, or there are some corporate governance issues that the numbers are not able to catch right now. Only in those cases will they not allow a company to become a Mojo stock. Otherwise, there is no other reason why they will block a company. This gets updated on a daily basis because the new results coming in, the technicals are changing, the valuations are changing on a daily basis. So the Mojo list potentially can change on a daily basis.
Okay, moving on, this next question by Mr. Rajiv Kumar. Namaskar Karanji, how can we see our previous sale purchase details with date and calculated capital gain or loss?
So if you go to portfolio, there are 2 ways you can see your transaction history. One is, which I personally use, is this one, transaction listing. So this gives the date-wise what you bought, what you sold, at what price, what the realized return, was there a short-term tax applicable, was there any long-term tax applicable here. You can find that all here. You can also copy this and paste it in Excel. There's also a transaction history tab, where you can define the time period if you're looking at a particular period, and it'll give you details of what you bought, and if you've sold anything, you'll also get those details here in case of what you've sold, what date you sold it, what was the realized return. But I personally use the transaction listing page.
Okay, also Karan, few of the investors have asked if you could speak a bit louder. I think they're having a slight difficulty with the volume. This next question by Mr. Ashish. Do I need to subscribe to Markets Mojo subscription if I subscribe to the Infinity plan? Do you manage the portfolio on Infinity portfolio, or do we have to buy and sell on our own?
You don't have to subscribe to Mojo Professional to be part of Mojo Infinity. Those are separate platforms. We do not handle your money or your stocks. You have to buy and sell yourself. We'll advise you on what you have to buy and what you sell. Once you do the transaction, you'll have to update those transaction details. There's also a direct gateway with 15 brokers. So if you have one of those 15 brokers, you can directly transact through the platform itself. But we don't handle any of your money or your stocks.
Okay, moving on, this next question by Mr. Farhan. Hi Karan, do you also invest in Mojo stocks, or do you follow a different approach?
I personally follow the model portfolio, and so that is mix of Mojo stocks as well.
Okay, this next question by Mr. Ambarish. For a new subscriber, how long is the offer of 2 years plus 3 months valid? Also, is there a 3 to 7 days demo available?
Unfortunately, the demo is not available, and there's a very good reason, because in stock market you cannot really judge anything in 3 to 7 days or months. So if you happen to get the demo on a day like today, when everything is down, you'll say the product doesn't work at all. This only gives losses, right? But that's really not any period to judge any stock market product, not just Markets Mojo, but any of your investment products. So you really need to be invested for some time to really see if it's working for you or not. In terms of for how long is this plan available, how it works is we have very limited slots. Once the slot gets filled up, the offer will not be available anymore. And also it works in multiple slots. So if someone buys this twice, they'll get 4 years and 6 months in their plan, and 2 slots will be taken up. So there are very limited slots, and once those slots are over for this discounted rate, the price will not be available.
Okay, moving on to this next question by Mr. Bhavesh. Hi Karan, how can I contact you if I require any advice?
So the best way to contact us is go to your profile and click on feedback. So once you're in this section, you can put in your details. So if it's an error or a question or suggestion that you're putting, so let's say I want to report, I have a query, you can put your message. You can also select, which topic. So we came from stock or portfolio, so it's already selected. If you have any other, portion that you want to select, let's say you want a question on Mojo stocks, you can click on Mojo stock, and you can type your message and even attach any screenshot if you have and post it. So what this does, it ensures it goes to the right team. So, someone will, your response time will be much quicker in this way. So go to your profile and click on feedback.
Okay, and this last question by Mr. Ramsey, he's asked, how can we view the past webinars if possible?
So currently past webinars are not visible. Currently it is, because all the webinars are very topical, so we don't put them on YouTube for a very long time. We only put it for a very short time, because the market scenario might have changed. We might be talking about one stock or one sector, and if market scenario change, then that's no longer valid. So we don't put all our webinars for a very long time, and they're only available for very, very short time on the YouTube or our portal.
Okay, also I can see a few investors asking if this webinar could be on for some more time. So I think Karan, could we keep it on for like a few hours today?
Yes, we'll keep it on for a few hours so that you can view it. But again, we don't keep any webinars for a very long time.
Okay, Karan, that's it with the Q&A session for today.
Thank you very much for joining us. And before we go, I just want to reiterate that this price is available for a very, very short time. So if you're looking to subscribe or extend, please use this link. We'll send you an email after the webinar is over with this link, and it's also available in the chat box.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Karan. As Karan said, we will send an email of the offer as well. Also, we have a very exclusive event tomorrow at around 7 p.m. hosted by our founder and CEO, Dr. Mohit Batra. We'll be shortly sending invites for that as well. You all can also scroll up and go to the webinar section and register for the event. Goodbye and have a nice day. Thank you so much.